Hi everybody, this is Angel Arts, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. This is Let's Play Fragments of Him. I believe this is a relatively short game. I think it should only take me about a couple hours to beat. I wanted to take a break from some of the gargantuan games that I have been playing as of late. For example, the Mass Effect trilogy and Final Fantasy 15. The Enderall game was also pretty long, so I wanted to start working on a few shorter games, especially games that were either A, very lighthearted and fun, or deep and full of feels. And I believe that Fragments of Him is one of the latter. I don't know very much about the plot. I'm going into this completely blind, with very, very shallow understanding of what the story is about. So I'm hoping you guys are going to enjoy this Let's Play. The pointer in the center of the screen will change shape if it automatically moves you. If it automatically moves me? Okay. Fragments of Him. Hmm. Ooh, this is first person. I hope I'll be okay, because I do grow dizzy with first person, but at least this is a relatively short game, hopefully. Okay. Okay. So who is this him? Who is this he or him? You can pause the game by pressing escape. I love you. Have a good day. Bye, Harry. See you tonight. Say nothing. I love you. Have a good day.
I love you. Have a good day. So many memories, and I've not taken the time to think about how much they mean to me. It's time for a change.
Hmm. It's over here.
I forget sometimes how beautiful this city is.
Is that me? Hmm. There's like, those are little fragments. There's the fragments of him, I guess. Elevator. Can I go in that room?
The little things matter. Take this elevator button. Someone made it look that way, and I never even thought about it once.
Can't go past this fragment. And I couldn't... no. Okay.
There are so many things I've never really looked at. Things that work perfectly, but I just ignore.
That is kind of true. We do take a lot of things for granted.
I get
A lot of
stuck in
things from our
patterns,
day-to-day.
doing the same thing every day.
It's very true also.
It feels like I'm locked in.
I feel like we all feel that way from time to time.
I'm going to take control.
There's my car. How do I get out of this parking lot? Oh, through that grating. Okay, so I know that I can interact with this thing once I get close enough. If it automatically moves you? I'm not sure what that means. Where did we go?
I don't want to lose what we've
hello.
got to by not paying attention to it.
Oh, are we? Oh, yeah. Are we in the UK? I guess we are, or in Europe, because the driver's side is on the right, which I'm not really used to. Check your mirrors. Check the radio. Buckle up. Seat belts.
Some of the patterns are worth keeping.
Like buckling up, being safe. That's a very good
Other
pattern
patterns,
to practice.
They're just habits with no meaning.
Handbrake. Oh, okay. I don't have to hit the gas pedal. Alright. So we're gonna head out. Mm-hmm. The art style of this game is really interesting, like the monochrome, but not quite black and white. Can I interact with you in any way? I guess not.
I should have paid more attention to the small stuff, not locked on to avoiding everything that matters. I've let myself lose track of what I want after everything we've been through.
It's a nice looking city or downtown area.
I don't want to lose him.
Lose who?
I always smile when I see that place. Maybe we'll go there tonight.
Wondering who this he is he's talking about. And am I just a disembodied, disembodied spirit that isn't actually there? I'm just, you know, a fly in the wall, just watching. Because I guess the person who's talking is the person over here, not the person. Am I in the view of the person that's speaking, or is this the guy that's speaking? That's what I haven't completely figured out yet.
Maybe we'll go feed the ducks this weekend. I love the way they walk.
Ducks are very cute. Why does this drive remind me of Final Fantasy 15? So much driving. Driving on the side of the road is... I'm not used to that.
I'm happy with him.
Oh, don't...
I have to be sure he knows that.
Oh! Oh! Okay, did not see that coming. What just happened? So who got hit? Was it the person whose voice? What happened? Well, he's okay now. So is this the him he's talking about? Oh, wow. They're in the same bed together. Does that mean I don't... maybe. They live in this one small apartment. He did say I love you. Oh, interesting.
Patterns. Every day, the same start. Harry never wakes up from my alarm.
So that's Harry. That's his alarm, and that guy is Harry. Water?
A routine is good, to a point. I used to love this efficiency, but I feel trapped by it now.
Kind of stinks we got hit by a car when we were in a complete stop at a red light.
Why have I just passed by this for so long? It's beautiful.
Wait, is he dead? Oh wow, is this guy dead? The guy in the glasses? Is he like here, not like, I guess not haunting, but semi-haunting Harry? And driving his car? Haunting him and driving his car?
I think I'll wear this one. It's Harry's favorite t-shirt on me.
Yeah, why not? These books.
I reread the same books time and again. It's comforting, I guess. These daily things, they're good, but weigh us down too. I've got to a good place in life, but I feel like I'm not taking it further.
Still not explaining what happened. What happened after the car crash? Oh wow!
Even here, I get into patterns. Bathroom first, then kitchen for breakfast. Maybe I should change that.
Well, as soon as I get out of bed, I normally want to go to the bathroom. So I don't think that's because of patterns. I think that's out of necessity sometimes. Sure, maybe I'll change that. Maybe I'll go to the kitchen first.
Changing the routine. I'm so rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Tea.
Coffee? Tea. Of course, he sounds like a tea person.
A man takes the lead, Grandma would tell me. I guess I need to step up to the line. I've got a great thing here. I don't think she meant this, but she's right. I should take the lead. I should ask Harry to marry me.
Oh.
I want to be his husband.
He is? Oh. Oh. Now I understand why several people recommended this game to me. Ah, I did not. Oh.
I'm not sure Grandma would approve. She's come a long way. It's hard to tell with her.
That's very true. I don't think I ever. Yeah, I never came out to my grandparents. I mean, I could have, but it's just one of those things. But they're in a completely different generation, and they're at the age where I think it just would be really difficult for them to take in. All four of my grandparents have passed away, though.
Naturally, as Will's grandmother, I knew Will since the first day he was born, of course. I will never forget that first moment in the hospital, when James, that's Will's father, handed me my grandson for the first time. He wriggled in his blue blanket, already a strong boy. James liked that punk thing in the 1980s, and looked a terrible mess to me. He ran 3 pubs in London for those sort of people. I would go over to babysit as often as I could. A child needs someone normal in their life.
Oh.
Will's mother is an American, Sharon. They met through James's pubs. She took Will away to America for 3 years when she and James split up. They got back together again, though.
Oh, okay, well, that's cool.
James and Sharon would always be putting on some awful music, if you can call it that. Not my cup of tea at all. I turned it off first thing whenever I was babysitting.
Mm-hmm. Do what you gotta do, ma'am.
That plant was about all Will saw of the outside when he was young.
That's
He
kind of
preferred to
sad.
make up stories rather than play outdoors.
I guess I can relate to that. I was more of a stay-at-home and make-believe as opposed to going outside. I wasn't that big of an outdoors kind of kid.
Sharon was always reading. She taught art history. Never really made much money. James liked such strange books, full of horrible things. I remember him telling me about one with rats everywhere. I really don't see the appeal.
The Rats? Is that about the Rats of Nim? Because that's one of my favorite books. Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nim is one of my favorites of all time. Such an awesome book.
Will's birth wasn't very easy, but he got here. He was never going to have brothers or sisters after, though. I only wanted the best for Will. I must sound like I was terribly damning of James and Sharon, but I loved Will as a boy and wanted to give him the best chance of a normal life.
Oh, okay.
I remember an evening where Will was quieter than usual. At first I thought he was ill. He'd got into a fight at school. A boy had been calling a dark-skinned girl names.
Oh.
Will had tried to stop the other boy, but he had been punched in the stomach.
Well, that's not cool.
I asked him if he had cried, and he said yes.
I would have cried too.
I told him that big boys don't cry. I remember him asking me then, what do big boys do when they're sad? I told him that when he grew up, he would be a good man, able to stand up for others. I suppose I didn't answer his question.
To be fair, there's nothing wrong with crying. I personally have a big problem with the idea that just because you're a man, that you can't be emotional, that you can't express your feelings or your emotion. That really upsets me a lot. I don't think that's what she was saying necessarily, but when you start, it starts at a young age, right? When it starts at a young age, when, you know, you're telling little boys, yeah, be a man, or you need to be a big boy. Okay, I understand that what she's trying to say is that you can't just, every time something bad happens, you can't cry and have that be the only thing. You know, like, there comes a point when you grow up where if something bad happens to you, you can be upset about it, and sure, if something's really awful, you can cry as long as you're still going to do something about it. You know, crying is good as a way to, it's very healthy. It's a way for you to get over things and deal with things. And you shouldn't suppress that. But being a crybaby, as in being someone who just cries and whines and doesn't do anything about it, that's the part that's not constructive. I feel like that the grandma is talking about the latter. It's more about, you know, you shouldn't just cry over everything. Every horrible thing, you shouldn't just cry over everything and not do anything about it. I think the message we should teach our kids is it's okay to cry, but don't use crying as a tool to get what you want, because that's not good. You should not use it as a tool to get you what you want. It's supposed to be a tool to help you deal with sad things, but ultimately, you should, if you're crying because there needs to be a change, or someone's not being treated well, or you're not treated well, then crying is not enough. You have to do other things besides that. You have to do something else besides that. So otherwise, you're going to start getting into little boys' heads that they have to be macho, which they take with them as they grow up, that you can't cry at all, which I think is not the right message you should be giving kids, that it's not so much that they shouldn't cry at all. I don't think that gives the right message.
I told him that he was right to try to stop the bully.
Yeah. Cool. Very
Looking
cool.
back, I don't think he seemed very comforted.
Well, once he's gay, I'm thinking that he's probably going to have his share of bullies growing up as well, unfortunately.
When he was going to bed, Will tripped on a toy.
Ow. I should probably go help him. It's alright, Will.
I remember carrying him. He was trying so hard not to cry.
If it hurts, you shouldn't suppress it. If it hurts, then cry. If it hurts, then yeah, cry if you want.
He was so small in my arms. I've never forgotten that feeling.
Didn't you ever watch Inside Out? That's the lesson of Inside Out. Crying is healthy at times. When you feel pain, crying is not a terrible thing. As long as you don't expect to, as long as you don't use it to get people to do what you want out of crying. That's the only caveat.
It's most odd what sticks with you. A whole patchwork of memories making up our lives. I took him to bed to read him a story.
I love bedtime stories. Will is so cute.
He liked ghost stories, but I thought he was too young for them. He would get very scared after the light was out. Sharon kept on buying him more, though.
You and I are the same, Will. You and I are the same. I don't like scary things. Don't like the scary at all.
I always look carefully to reassure him. I had to check the room for ghosts before he would sleep.
That's so cute.
I remember promising him, while I looked, that I would always protect him. I would always be there for him. I'm sure he thought I just meant about ghosts, but I meant it for everything. I always remember that feeling. I wonder if I knew his life wouldn't be easy.
That's kind of, yeah, foreshadowing.
I was reading Grimm's fairy tales to him.
Ooh.
I like those much more than the new versions that they kept on coming out with back then.
You mean the ones that are not nearly as gruesome or horrifying for children? Grimm's tales, a lot of the classic stories that we might know a little bit more from Disney, for example, the source material for many of the fairy tales that we know from Disney, for example, are a lot darker and a lot more, well, grim.
There was a short, very strange story that night called The Ungrateful Son.
Oh my, oh, okay, yeah. Go ahead and read
I'll
that
tell
again.
it to you. It's only short.
Okay. Sure.
Once upon a time, a man and his wife were eating a roast chicken for dinner.
Okay.
When the man saw his father, a very old man, walking along the road towards them,
I like this art style.
the man didn't want to share, and so he hid the chicken out of sight.
Wow. This sort of reminds me of the tale of the three brothers from Harry Potter, from the last Harry Potter book, the way it was presented.
His father came, bid them a good day, and went on his way.
He's hiding food from his father? That's a really weird story. Okay.
The man was very happy, and so told his wife to put the chicken on the table again. But the chicken had transformed into a giant toad,
Okay, that's
which
kind of
leapt onto the face of the man.
That's kind of random. Okay, yeah, our chicken turned into a giant toad.
The toad wouldn't leave his face, and hissed at the wife when she came near, so she didn't dare approach to help.
Okay.
The man had to feed the toad every day from then on, or it would bite his face, and he never rested for the remainder of his life.
Wow.
Like I say, it was a very strange story.
Okay. Don't think I've ever heard about that one. Can't wait for the Disney version. Wonder what they're gonna do with that.
Will was asleep before I finished it, which was probably a good thing.
Alright, I'm not sure what the point of that story was, but okay. Probably not a choice story that I would read to my children. I'd read them Harry Potter long before I read them that. The soundtrack of this game is really cool. Alright, what do I hit next? This is pretty much what the gameplay of this game is, trying to find where I'm supposed to click on. What am I doing now? I'm like, there's emotional music playing, and meanwhile, I'm breaking the mood by not knowing where to click next. What is this? User-born guide to computers? Okay, I figured it out. It's this light, which was really hard to see. Kind of hard to see, even though it's highlighted in blue. I mean, I thought that was just part of the light itself, the fact that it was blue.
I felt strange after reading it. I wondered about whether I really could keep him safe. I knew I would do my best to help him find his place in the world. Any other grandmother would try to do the same.
Did she know that he was gay? Is that what she's talking about?
I could still see him sleeping there now, like it was only yesterday. I'd raised James, so I thought I would be ready for anything from my grandson Will. But I wasn't daft enough to think that it would be easy. The world changes so fast.
Whoa. Who are all these people? Oh, that's James. Is that Harry? This art style is really interesting.
I remember the family visiting me when Will was a teenager.
Okay.
Do you know
Turn
Al
off the music.
Martino's Here in My Heart? He had such a lovely voice. It was playing when Robert first kissed me. Robert would hum it to me sometimes. I like to go to the seaside at Brighton. They sell these glass animals there, handmade. I started collecting them years ago, and I still get a new one every time I visit.
That's cute. How about this? Oh my gosh, it's the Super Mario Bros. 2 mask. Any of you guys played Super Mario Bros. 2 back in the day? It looks just like
I
that.
went to visit
mask.
family in New Zealand after James left home. It was a very long trip. I could only make it once. It's such a shame to be so distant from family.
Yeah, New Zealand's an awesome place, but the trip there is really, really long.
My husband Robert was a writer, like Will. I think they would have loved talking. Maybe Will's interest would have inspired Robert to push a bit harder in his work. We were all waiting back then for Diana to divorce Charles. It had been such a scandal after that television interview that she did.
Wow, they've even got the real current events with Princess Diana and Prince Charles.
People seem to believe that all us old folk want to talk about is the weather. So I started the conversation. I see that Diana is in the news again. It seems like she's never out of it these days. It's about time she stopped keeping everyone waiting.
You wanted her to divorce her husband.
I think it's sad. She was bullied into all of this from the beginning.
The rest of the conversation didn't go well. Will frustrated me so much.
Why? Why did he frustrate you?
James wasn't much help. He's always held liberal views on things.
That's James. And that's
Sharon sat there, not
Sharon.
saying anything, which was worse than her joining in. But I could imagine her American take on the whole thing.
Wow, really, Grandma? Her American
I
take.
wish I'd never even started the conversation. They didn't want to hear my opinion. Excuse me, I'm going to make some tea, I said.
Wow.
No one offered to help.
Wow, that's a lot of drama. Sheesh. Okay. What happened? Getting hit with the music again.
I didn't really want tea. I don't think they wanted it either. But I needed to do something.
You got upset because they didn't want to talk about Princess Diana?
It
Really?
seems like a strange thing to remember, but some things stick with you. If you go against society, you always end up in trouble.
Yeah, but sometimes that's necessary for change.
I was scared for him. He had all these views about things, and it was dangerous.
It is dangerous, but that doesn't make it wrong.
James and Sharon were both adults, but Will...
What about Will?
I didn't have any choice in my time, but I had a quiet life. It was good enough.
Times there are changing.
It's easier to be different now, but all he could see was the need of one person, at the risk to everything else. I was scared for Will. I didn't want him to stand out and end up worse off.
Well, it's nice that you don't want him to... I understand... I don't think it's right to not want him to stand out. I think what you don't actually want, I think what's more accurate, what she really meant to say, was I don't want him to get hurt. Because just because you stand out doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get hurt. And if she thinks that Will is like, has these different ideas and is different and is standing out, that in and of itself isn't bad. What's bad is when people attack that person or ridicule that person or discriminate that person because they have different views or are just plain different. So, yeah, I think that you should applaud someone for being willing to be different, and what you should be afraid of is not the fact that they're different. What you should be afraid of is people are treating them poorly because they're different. That's two different things. Because that way it implies that it's less feels like Will is doing something wrong, or it's wrong for him to be the way that he is, which is not the right message that you want to give. It's other people are wrong for trying to discriminate against him or treating him differently just because he happens to be, he happens to be different or has differing views. That's what you should really say.
I waited, letting the tea brew. And I found myself crying, standing in the kitchen like a silly old what's-it. He was going to go off with views like that and get in trouble, and I couldn't do a thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the reality. I mean, I hate to break it to you, Grandma, but you're at that age where you should know that, yeah, you can't protect him from everything. A lot of terrible things happen to people nowadays, and you can't protect them from that. But that doesn't necessarily mean they should stop doing what they're doing. That doesn't mean they should stop living and they should stop being who they are. That doesn't mean that at all. It's just because something is unsafe and something is dangerous doesn't necessarily mean that they're in the wrong by doing it.
I knew something had been broken that day between Will and I.